topped off Thomas. It was a windy autumn day on the island of Sodor. Thomas liked windy days. Sometimes Thomas liked to race the wind. "I can go faster than you, Mr. Wind," Thomas tooted as he steamed along. Thomas had to stop at a junction. Spencer was already there. Thomas was surprised. "Hello, Spencer. What are you doing on Sodor?" "I," steamed Spencer, "am to pick up Sir Topham and Lady Hat and the Duke and Duchess of Boxford. They are waiting at Kellsthrope Station. I am to take them to a very important tea party at the Scottish castle." Thomas was disappointed. "Why can't I take them in Annie and Clarabelle?" he puffed. "Because," huffed Spencer loudly, "you are a small engine, and small engines get small jobs. I am a big engine, and big engines get big jobs." "I can go faster than the wind," chuffed Thomas crossly. "Nonsense," sniffed Spencer. This made Thomas even crosser. "I'll race you to Kellsthrope Station," Thomas huffed. "Then we'll see." The signal changed. Spencer and Thomas wheeshed away. Thomas was determined to win. Sir Topham Hatt, Lady Hat, and the Duke and Duchess of Boxford were waiting on the platform at Kellsthrope. Suddenly, there was a thundering and a whooshing. Spencer and Thomas were pumping their pistons and bubbling their boilers to arrive at Kellsthrope first. Spencer screeched to a halt, but Thomas raced straight through the station. There was a rush of wind so big, it blew Sir Topham Hatt's top hat right off his head. Sir Topham Hatt was very cross. Thomas reversed slowly back into the station. He was very worried. "Thomas," boomed Sir Topham Hatt, "why were you going so fast? You know engines must go slowly through stations." Thomas felt terrible. "I'm sorry, sir," he peeped. "And," Sir Topham Hatt added, "my hat has blown away. I must have my hat." Thomas felt even worse. "I'll find your hat, sir," Thomas chuffed, "in time for your important tea party at the Scottish castle." And he chuffed quickly away. Thomas was sure he'd find Sir Topham Hatt's hat quickly. He looked down the track to the level crossing. There was Bertie the bus. Sir Topham Hatt's hat had landed on his roof. "I found it," Thomas hooted happily. Just then, Gordon whooshed through the crossing so fast that the hat blew into the air. "Cinders and ashes!" cried Thomas. "Now I'll have to chase after it." Thomas steamed down the line. Then he saw it. The hat had landed on top of Farmer McColl's scarecrow. "I found it!" Thomas hooted happily. But just then, Harold the helicopter rose from the other side of the hill. The great whoosh of his blades blew Sir Topham Hatt's hat into the air and far away. "Cinders and ashes!" cried Thomas. "I'll have to chase it again." Thomas steamed along. He was out of puff and out of places to look. Then he saw it. Sir Topham Hatt's top hat landed on one of the windmill's sails. Thomas hooted happily. But just then, a great gust of wind blew the sails around. And the top hat was blown into the air and far away. "Oh no!" tooted Thomas, and he raced after it. It was getting late. Thomas had promised to find Sir Topham Hatt's hat, and he hadn't done that. The wind had taken the hat far away. "You've won, Mr. Wind," peeped Thomas. And he let out a tiny, sad wheesh of steam. Thomas puffed sadly back towards Kellsthrope Station. "I wonder if I will ever be a really useful engine again," he wheezed sadly. Then he saw it. Sir Topham Hatt's hat was just in front of him, floating on the wind. "I was silly to think I was as fast as you, Mr. Wind," Thomas chuffed quietly. "Please, can you help me?" The wind heard Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt's hat floated gently onto Thomas's funnel. Thomas couldn't believe his puff. He chuffed slowly and carefully towards Kellsthrope Station. When Thomas arrived, everyone was waiting. Then Sir Topham Hatt gasped. He saw his hat on top of Thomas's funnel. "You've found my hat, Thomas," he boomed happily. "You are a really useful engine." Thomas blew a happy wheesh of steam, and the top hat flew gently from his funnel onto the platform in front of Sir Topham Hatt. "Sometimes going slowly is as good as going fast," tooted Thomas. "Or maybe even better."